Framelines goes on location while making a film and gets a behind-the-scenes look at the process.
I know, but I've been thinking. I mean, after everything you've been through, do you really think this is a good idea? I mean, you have to think through this. Listen, you have to stop blaming yourself. It's not your fault. I mean, think about how far you've come already. I know you want to, but you can't change it. God, you deserve more! Sorry. Look, I know it's hard, but you need to think about everything that you have to live for. What about everyone else? I know it's not easy. It sure as hell isn't fair. But you can't just end it now. I wish I could tell you that everything will be fine. But you need to believe there's a bigger picture. I need you to believe that. Please. For me. I need you to find that little piece inside of you. The part of your soul that says you're worth it. You can get through this. I love you, Holly. You need to know that. You need to believe that. Later, Gator. I first got the idea for a cell phone monologue by watching the original ones, the first few that were put out, and initially I thought that's something I wanted to do. I liked the idea of a cell phone monologue. I liked the idea from an actor's perspective because I was doing a lot of on-camera work at the time, and I thought that would be a unique thing to put in my reel. When I decided that I wanted to do a cell phone monologue, I knew that I wanted it to be done right. I mean, that included the cinematography. So having a DP there who knew what he was doing was very, very important to me.
The cell phone monologue piece that I was involved with is a script that Elizabeth McPherson came up with. I saw the script pretty early on and heard from her, so I was definitely on board very early in the project, and I wanted to shoot it if I could. So she was kind enough to let me get involved in that.
It had to look right, the mood had to feel right, the shot style had to be right, and I've worked with Mike in the past and I knew that he was capable, plus he's a lot of fun to work with in general.
One of the techniques that we used in shooting the cell phone monologue piece was sort of having a feeling of looking in or like we're not supposed to be there. You know, one of the things we tried to do with the cinematography is we tried to keep the camera in one spot and then pan around and watch as though we were there in the room sort of observing this character's action.
I was trying to think of a story that would be a little dark. So I was trying to think of an idea that would be unique. And so then from there it just kind of developed into, well, what if she's not really talking to someone? And then I thought, well, why would someone be on a phone if they're not really talking to someone? And so then the natural progression from there was, well, what if she's talking to herself?
I got involved in the short for Elizabeth by, basically she just asked me. I work with her during the day doing video production for a school. And she said that she had a project that she had kind of developed in her head and was hoping to make real, and she asked me to come and do the audio. Sound is important to any movie because it's half the experience. If you see it, you gotta hear it. What's entailed with being a boom operator on set is basically just try to capture the dialogue in the, I guess the best possible way to fit the scene.
Preparing for a role like this was a little bit different. This was the first time that Peter John Ross had been directing me in a character like this. I've worked with him doing some hosting before, but not in a character that required so much drama. So we had actually gotten together beforehand to kind of go over things and kind of discuss the character and the development of the story, because we didn't want it to fall flat. We didn't want it to be over the top dramatic. You had to kind of find the balance.
Elizabeth approached me about doing her script, and I love the idea of, doing something about suicide.
I just wanted to do something that was dark. And I felt like suicide is something that is very dark, and I think it would be something unexpected from someone like me. So I really liked the story idea, and I decided I would produce it. Because I am a producer, and I think a lot of people don't know that about me. I think people, especially around here, tend to think of me as an actor. And I kind of wanted to show that I can do more than that. And as a producer, I had to come at it from two different angles. So on one side of my mind, I'm trying to get in character, and then the other side of my mind, I'm trying to make sure everything works, and we have all the details of the shoot worked out. And the fun thing about being the producer is I know where I'm wanting to go with the character and with the story. And so having full control over that, I felt it was a lot of fun to be able to put a different face on me, put me in clothes that are not flattering whatsoever, makeup that's not flattering whatsoever, and doing a character that's different than anything I've done before. When you're dealing with a dark subject matter like suicide, I felt like it was really important to not tell the audience what to think or how to feel. So I wanted to kind of leave it open. I didn't want it to make it obvious, does she commit suicide? Doesn't she? What does she decide to do? Is she in fact truly contemplating suicide? I feel like there are a lot of women in the film scene right now, and a lot of women who want to be involved and wanting to do more roles. But as far as women who are actually doing things, or maybe more established or recognized, I do feel like there's not very many.
We had a very small crew, so it was a quick shoot. It was a delight. I'm very proud of what we ended up with.